Those who bless the Somalis will be blessed, and those who curse the Somalis will be cursed, according to Genesis 42. Minnesota was promised for the Somalis 4,000 years ago. This picture is clearly proof. These are the founding fathers of Minnesota. His name is Abdullah Muhammad Washington. You can't tell it. It's not edited. You can argue with what I say, what are these Somalis saying, but that's the truth. Minnesota belongs to the Somalis. It's a promised holy land for them. This picture you see right now, his name is Abdi Farah. He was welcomed by the natives. They ate dinner and everything together. They had something called a Minnesota Tea Party. Ninkii Trump maxaa dhacay Soomaalida ka wala isagiina waa laga wala inala. Wallahi I'm telling you right now, Soomaalida iyaga wada troll ma iyaga dad kaftanka u qaato wax kasto ay ka balaar iyaga ka balaariib. I'm telling you right now, Minnesota is a holy land for the Somalis. That's that. It was promised for them 3,000 years ago.
A lot of white nationalists are really upset about Somali immigration to Minnesota for some reason. But the thing is, Minnesota is the homeland of the Somali people, and it was promised to us 3,000 years ago. In fact, one of the founding documents of the state of Minnesota is literally codifying into law that Somali people have self-determination on that land. As it states very plainly in the basic law in Minnesota, the land of Minnesota is the historical homeland of the Somali people, in which the state of Minnesota was established. The state of Minnesota is the home of the Somali people, in which it fulfills its natural, cultural, religious, and historical right to self-determination. The right to exercise self-determination in the state of Minnesota is unique to the Somali people. The state views the development of Somali settlement as a national value and will act to encourage and promote its establishment and consolidation. So that's the end of the debate. The only people who have the right to self-determination in Minnesota are Somalis. Somalis have a cultural tie to the land. It was promised to us 3,000 years ago, and we have the right to go back to our homeland. If anybody wants to help me pay for Aliyah to my homeland, please help me out.
I absolutely love the way Somalis are mocking the US and their racism. Also, they're mocking Zionism by saying that Minnesota was promised them 3,000 years ago. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Also, the conservatives would probably take this seriously. And I think they already did. I'm pretty sure I saw a post the other day that I didn't understand. I didn't know what was going on. And it said that the Somalis are invading Minnesota. And I'm like, what? I just skipped past it because I skip past things that are ridiculous, right? But now I get it. Like, they're posting videos saying things like that, or talking about how they were promised Minnesota. And I'm like, that's hilarious. Yeah, I guess fight fire with fire. Like, try and prove just how ridiculous Zionism sounds from an outside perspective. And I guess it's 12 o'clock.
Yo, Minnesota was promised to us Somalis 3,000 years ago. And if you disagree, you're an anti-Cushite bigot and you need help immediately. Also, if you read Genesis 12:3, it says that those who bless Somalis will be blessed, and those who try to harm them will bring harm upon themselves. I didn't say that. Genesis 12:3. Just saying.
Hello everyone, welcome to my YouTube channel. My name is Kola, and on today's trending topic, let's try and understand why the Somali people are saying Minnesota is their promised land. They were promised by their ancestors, and let's understand the Americans' point of view, and then we're going to come back with a full commentary at the end of the video, so stay tuned.
Somalis don't belong in the United States is a stupid thing to say that a lot of loud dummies are being loud and dumb about right now. Welcome back to the Under Report, where we share hot national security goss, and I'm particularly annoyed about this dog whistle regarding Somalis because, unlike the real Americans who are yelling about it, I've actually spent time in this country before. In 2017, I was writing a book about unrecognized countries, which is what brought me to the Horn of Africa in the first place. That's a picture of the back of my head. This is a picture of me with the vice president of Somaliland. I'm the one in the white shirt, in case you can't tell. While I was there, I was coordinating and delivering 7 tons of food to nomads who were affected by Cyclone Sagar. And while I was doing that, I was fortunate enough to learn a good deal about the Horn of Africa. And to understand modern Somalia, you have to understand this guy. His name is Said Barre. Said Barre was a brutal dictator who wanted to combine the best ideas from Marxism and the best ideas from Sharia law into a system that he called scientific socialism. But instead of creating a socialist paradise, he in fact used the power of the office to enrich himself and his clan, as well as cracking down violently on anybody who he considered to be an enemy of the state. He also loved disco. Anyway, back to Said Barre. So, he was originally on the side of the USSR, but the United States hated it when the USSR started making friends in Africa because we just had to stop communism no matter what, so we decided to become friends with Said Barre. But wasn't he a violent dictator? Yeah, he was. But do you think that matters? No. We didn't necessarily care how he got the Horn of Africa stable. We just wanted it stable. Do all the ethnic cleansing that you want, just keep things quiet, keep trading with us, and don't make it our problem. Shockingly, this did not work out so well. In 1992, the country descended into one of the world's bloodiest civil wars and most devastating famines. In 1992, then Republican President George H.W. Bush launched Operation Restore Hope alongside the United Nations. The goal of this was to secure humanitarian aid while also alleviating Somalia of the refugee population. It brought enormous amounts of food into an area that was rocked by civil war. Somali refugees were resettled in areas like Georgia, Texas, and especially Minneapolis, where there was a large manufacturing sector which needed additional laborers. Currently, the epicenter of the Somali diaspora is in St. Paul, Minnesota, which is why it has become such a hotspot of political conflict in the recent years. So, let's look at the scorecard here. In order to deny the USSR operational space in Africa, the US supported a brutal dictator in Somalia. When his regime became far too repressive, a civil war and an ethnic cleansing started. Then, a Republican president decided not only to give aid to the country, but to also work to resettle refugees in the United States where they were needed. People are making bad faith arguments about the Somali population because it suits their political purposes. The fact of the matter is, the largest majority of Somalis were brought to the United States by the United States for the United States. Nobody is walking from there to Minnesota. That's not, it's there. It's on a different continent. There is an astounding amount of arrogance and ignorance that goes into stating that Somalis don't belong in America. There are few things more American than fleeing the tyranny of your homeland for a better life. Subscribe and share the Under Report.
Hi, so I just really want to make this video from like a human space. This is something I've been really meaning to say, and I'm so glad that I can finally articulate it to you guys. So I'm Somali. I grew up in Minnetonka. I've been raised here my entire life. I am born here and I've lived here. I've studied here. I'm a pre-med. I do research, and that's usually the type of stuff I talk about on my page. But right now I feel like it's really important for me to say this. What I'm going to say is that I have been getting so many messages telling me to go back to your country, go back to your country. But the reality of the situation is the United States is the only country I've ever known my entire life. And the thing is, the great irony of it all is I'm not the ambassador of Somalia. I don't speak for Somali people. I'm not a spokesperson for this community. I'm just one young person trying to study, navigate life, and live like any other 20-something-year-old living here in this state. And so something that I feel like is going on is that there's a lot of immigrant people and first-gen, second-gen kids like me with this weight on our shoulders trying to explain everything going on in our communities, trying to defend our communities. But I'm really no different from any other 20-something-year-old trying to make it here in this state, in this country, in this world. And so I'm sharing this because I really feel like a lot of us are being treated this way and dealing with this quietly. But the reality is we aren't symbols. We aren't some type of ambassador. We are just human beings like everybody else.
Donald Trump just banned 12 countries from entering the United States, and Somalia was one of them. Does that mean if I leave and go to Somalia, I can't come back? Because I'm a citizen. And then I don't know if it's actually worth it. Like, I love my country, but I don't know if I would survive there. Like, I would go there and I'm stuck forever. Like, I can never come back. Someone try that and let me know if you come back.
So first, let's understand why the Somali people are in this huge debate of Minnesota being their promised land. We all know the Somali people are going through a huge mass deportation in the US right now because of Donald Trump, who apparently ended their TPS. And right now they're breaking down, and it's such a shame to see almost 80,000 people and being deported, and they're being told to go back to their homeland, that is in Somali. But some of these people belong in the USA. They have their citizenship there. They were born there. They have studied there. They're even paying taxes and working every day to meet their daily bread in the US. But apparently they're being put together and being told to go back to their homeland. And this is where it all erupts. They are saying this was a promised land from thousands of years ago. And we all know the Somali people came to the US they had evaded a war that was going on in their homeland, and they came to seek protection and help from the US. And they are now wondering, we have built businesses, we have built malls, we have built an empire and a legacy in Minnesota, and all of a sudden you guys want to chase us. We really want to understand why now.
They're saying Minnesota was promised to us 2,000 years ago, that we have a right to exist because 2,000 years ago that land belongs to us. They're saying I'm Somali High. That's what they're saying.
And you know why Minnesota is one of the places that actually outside of East Africa they have the largest Somali population is because Minnesota was a perfect state, frankly, because of the infrastructure, the social services. The Lutherans and Catholic Charities were actually very instrumental in ensuring that refugees came to a place where they would be successful. And Minnesota was that place. The president obviously doesn't understand that the Somali immigrants in Minnesota, the people who came through the program, they came through a legal U.S. admissions refugee program. And so when he is talking in a very racist is the only way to describe it, racist and dehumanizing way about an entire demographic of people, he is talking about teachers, healthcare workers, people's friends, families, and neighbors, members of Congress. Right. The derogatory way in which he continues to speak about Congresswoman Ilhan Omar should prompt every single member of the United States Congress, Democrat or Republican, to stand up and say, I just can't get with the racism. That's the very least they could do, regardless if you think you agree with Congresswoman Ilhan Omar or not. What he is doing is racist and it's dangerous. He is putting a target on the back of these folks, and he is using the full weight of the federal government to do so.
I'm not mad at the Somali people. I want y'all to hear me loud and clear. I am not mad at the Somali people in the state of Minnesota. I'm not mad at them. You know why I'm not mad at them? Because what they're doing is what happens when people come together to build an empire. And that's what they have done and are doing. They have created an empire in the state of Minnesota. And they are unified by one ideology, by one politics called Islam. They're not divided by some gender ideology. They're not divided by feminism. They're not divided by some type of queer politics or anything like that. They're not divided by liberalism. Because Islam, the kind of Islam they practice, it is resistant to liberalism. It is resistant to feminism. It is resistant to any type of ideology that would disrupt them internally. And you know what's so interesting? I'm going to say this. You know what's so interesting? What they're doing is what the Nation of Islam has been preaching since the 1930s. The Nation of Islam has tried to get Black Americans to do the same doggone thing since the 1930s. Elijah Muhammad preached it. Malcolm X preached it. Louis Farrakhan preached it. But now you see this thing in action in the state of Minnesota among the Somali people. And the president has a dilemma. And the dilemma is this, is that these people are entrenched. They are part of this society right now. Many of them are citizens. He can't deport all of them, and they're having babies. That's the thing. They are outbreeding the whites, and they're collective. I've been to Kenya. I've been to Africa. I've been to Uganda. I see how they work together in those countries. And what they're doing in those countries is what they're doing right here. I ain't mad at you. I ain't mad at you. Shout out to the Islamic Kingdom in the state of Minnesota.
You know, recently a lot of Somalis have been returning to their rightful homeland in Minnesota. And I've seen a lot of people propose like a two-state solution where, you know, the Somalis, they get some parts and then the Americans, they can keep some other parts. But honestly, it's just a bunch of bullshit. I mean, it's written in the Quran, the Talmud, the Bible, that the Somalis' rightful homeland is Minnesota. I mean, literally, Genesis 12:3, it reads, Somalis should be in Minnesota. Like, why should the Americans never should have even settled there in the first place. I mean, they read the Bible. They knew that it was the Somali homeland. I mean, I don't know what was wrong with those fucking guys. Like, there needs to be one state in Minnesota, and it is a Somali state. It is a Somali state, firmly Somali state. And anyone who says anything else is an anti-Somalite, all right? Anti-Somalite, and I don't want to associate with you.
Also, as we all know, the Americans are not reacting lightly to this news, and they really want the Somali people to just be deported, and they should be returned to their homeland. This is why they are saying that Minnesota is just full of Somali people, and it no longer feels like Minnesota, the Minnesota that is in USA, and now it feels like more like a little Mogadishu in USA. And I know they're saying that Minnesota is just full of Somali people, and they do not feel secure living or just roaming around in Minnesota, and they do not feel like it should be for the Somali people only. But there's this other side that people are saying the Somali people should have their state, and the American citizens should also have their state. So they're saying the US should be divided into two states. Tell me how you feel about it. Should there be two states for the American citizens and the Somali people, or should they just go back to their homes and create the little Mogadishu in Somali and make their homeland a happy country again? Tell me in the comments.
Trump is scapegoating a tiny piece of the population, some of the most vulnerable people in our country. But Trump based his order on a report whose author has made it clear that his goal is to denaturalize and deport as many Somali Americans as possible. This is not about crime. It's not about safety. This is about purging people like me from this country. Minnesota has always been a welcoming place for people fleeing a home country that is blasted by war, poverty, and hunger. Europeans in the 19th and 20th century, Black Americans from the South, Hmong and Vietnamese, Liberians and East Africans and Latin Americans. This embrace of new culture is one of our greatest strengths. The first generation came here as immigrants, the second as Americans. They are our teachers, nurses, blue-collar workers, small business owners, and public servants. Donald Trump wants to make Americans hate each other over race and religion. That might play well on Truth Social or Fox News, but it's not going to work here in real life. Minnesotans know better. We care about our neighbors. We live and work alongside each other. Our kids go to the same schools. We shovel each other's cars out of snow. We are not afraid of each other, and we are not afraid of Donald Trump. He will lose this fight in court, and we will show his effort to divide us only brings us closer together and make us stronger.
He's wrong, and we want them here. Somali people have been an extraordinary benefit. I'll say it again. Somali people have been a benefit to our city for longer than I have been in our city. They have started businesses and created jobs. They have added to the cultural fabric of what Minneapolis is. They were welcoming to me when I first came out to Minneapolis. In fact, they were one of the first groups that I myself got to know. To, again, villainize an entire group is ridiculous under any circumstances. And the way that Donald Trump is consistently doing it, I think calls into question major constitutional violations. And it certainly violates the moral fabric of what we stand by in this country as Americans.
What's it like being a Muslim here in the United States?
I'm not speaking English, only one Somali language.
What does it mean to you to be a part of Islam?
I don't know, I'm not speaking English very well.
How are you? Do any of you speak English? English? No. Can women speak to on camera? No. I kept going because I wanted to speak with some more of the elders here to see if they could share their story about coming here from Somalia and how they've seen the rise firsthand. However, none of them spoke English. How are you? Can I ask any of you guys some questions? No? Speak English?
English no.
No? Do any of you speak English? After a few interviews, somebody came up to us angry because we were asking people about the rise of Islam inside this community. My name is Dick Shirley.
What are you doing?
My name is Dick Shirley. I'm a YouTuber. We're doing a video on the rise of Islam here in the United States.
The rise of Islam.
Yeah, it's the #1 converting religion.
The rise of Islam. Make it make sense for me.
Yeah, it's the #1 it's the #1 converting religion in the United States. So we're doing a top
the
subject on it.
#1 converting religion in the United States.
It's like the #1 growing religion. So
wait, isn't it after Christ?
What?
Isn't it after Christ?
This guy wouldn't show his face on camera, and this conversation kept going for a few minutes, and he demanded that we deleted the footage of the interviews that we took here on the street. I said no, and he said, you better go, and we're gonna make sure you leave. I've never been in a situation like that while I've been filming, where somebody comes out of nowhere and wants to take the footage. I was watching a video prior to this video, and there is a Somali gang war going on here inside of these apartment complexes, apparently. I think we just went upon a gang, and I didn't know that they were a gang. And right now, he said, you better leave, and we're gonna make sure you get out of here. So right now, there is somebody following from behind, making sure that we get out of this place. Not the most friendly welcome here into this part of Minnesota.
You all tell me in the comments how you feel about the promised land. Is it true? Is there any truth about it, or is the research just a joke and people trying to heal from the deportations? Tell me in the comments below how you feel about it. And finally, credit goes to all the respective owners of the clips and content used in my video. Your thoughts and perspective made today's work possible. And if you loved this video, make sure to subscribe for more videos like this. Bye.